Today, bombshell witness testimony in the trial gripping the world, with new insight into the private life of Erin Patterson, accused mushroom killer. The first witness in the triple murder trial of accused mushroom killer Erin Patterson, Erin's estranged husband, Simon. Erin is accused of murdering Simon's parents, Don and Gail Patterson, and his aunt, Heather Wilkinson, by feeding them a beef Wellington allegedly laced with death cap mushrooms in July 2023. She's also accused of attempting to murder Heather's husband, Ian, who spent nearly 2 months in hospital but survived. The case for the defence? That Erin did not deliberately serve poisoned food to her guests. The poisoning nothing more than a terrible and tragic accident. Erin has pleaded not guilty. According to the prosecution, the mother of two faked a cancer diagnosis to lure her relatives to lunch, claiming to seek advice on how to break the news to her 2 children. That Erin served her guests individual beef Wellingtons on different plates. For them, 4 large grey plates. For her, a small orange-coloured one. The prosecution claims the 50-year-old feigned the same illness as her guests in hospital, lied about owning a food dehydrator, pretended she'd bought the mushrooms from a shop when mobile data placed her in a location known for death cap mushroom sightings. Today, Simon Patterson fought back tears, describing Erin as intelligent, witty and funny, that his relationship with her became strained over child support payments, that he declined Erin's invitation to lunch because...
I feel too uncomfortable.
Erin's reply?
That's really disappointing. I've spent many hours this week preparing lunch and spent a small fortune on beef I fillet because I wanted it to be a special meal, as I may not be able to host a lunch like this again for some time.
Well, 10 News First reporter Samantha Butler was in court today and is with us now. Samantha, he's lost his parents and auntie. Just how emotional was Erin's estranged husband Simon today?
Well, Waleed, I was one of 6 journalists who were actually in the courtroom today. You might have heard there is a ballot system for media up here in Morwell, just given the intense media interest both in Australia and overseas for this case. So every day there is a ballot to determine who will be able to sit in there. But it does give you a really good insight into the reactions of both the accused and the witnesses. Now, Simon Patterson was quite emotional on 2 occasions. The first was when he was asked about his relationship with Erin Patterson, and he really described how he tried to keep things amicable with Erin even after they separated in 2015 for the sake of the couple's 2 children. The second moment when he also broke down was when he was discussing, the state of his father the day after the lunch at Leongatha and just how unwell he was and how difficult that was to see.
Did you get any insight into the nature of his relationship with Erin?
Yeah, we really did. They actually spent quite a bit of time questioning Simon about his relationship with Erin. They started right back at the beginning. He told the jury that he met Erin when they were both working for Monash City Council back in the early 2000s. A friendship blossomed, and from there they began a relationship. It wasn't until sort of 2009, between 2009 and 2015, that the relationship began to get a little bit rocky. They separated on several occasions, and then in 2015 is when that really seemed to become official. Things took a turn for the worst. He told the jury in about 2022 there was an incident where Erin discovered that he had listed himself as separated on a tax return. That was something that made her quite upset, and from that point she actually requested that he pay child support.
Samantha, Simon went into more detail about the day after the lunch. What can you tell us?
Well, we heard from Simon that he got a call from his parents quite early in the morning telling him that they were really quite unwell. They were taken to hospital by ambulance. He then went to check on Heather and Ian Wilkinson, and they were also extremely unwell. He drove them to hospital, and on the way, Heather actually raised the alarm about something that is quite interesting, and the prosecution has also alleged that this is part of their case, that Erin prepared those meals and served them up on different plates for her guests compared to her own. The guests were allegedly served this beef Wellington, which the prosecution claims was laced with death cap mushrooms, on round grey plates, and then Erin's was on a smaller, lighter coloured plate. So that is quite an interesting point that has been raised, and we'll probably hear more about that as the trial continues.
And what are we expecting next in the trial?
Well, as you can see, the court's pretty quiet here at Morwell. It has wrapped up for the day, but it will resume at 10:30 tomorrow. The defence is expected to continue their cross-examination of Simon Patterson, but he is just one of more than 140 witnesses who could be called throughout this trial. They include police, medical and forensic experts, as well as family members of both the accused and the alleged victims. Among them is Ian Wilkinson, the Currumborough pastor, Simon Patterson's uncle, who we know is the sole surviving lunch guest. So, guys, there is still really a long way to go in this trial. It is set down to run for up to 6 weeks.
Samantha, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys.